Hey guys, John here from Sonic Drive Studio. I hope you're all doing well and welcome back to the channel once again. In today's video, we're going to check out the recently released Guitar Rig 7 plugin by Native Instruments. But before we dive in, let's take a listen to one of the new ICM amplifiers, the Superfast 100 to be precise, which is based on a Soldano SLO 100. This should be fun, check it out. Alright, well to me that sounded really nice. Fat, thick and juicy and definitely very amp-like. I'm gonna talk more about that tone and the preset in a minute, but first let's take a look at what Guitar Rig 7 has to offer. So with the previous version of Guitar Rig, so Guitar Rig 6, the graphical user interface already got a big overhaul. And with version 7 everything looks even better and more streamlined. It's a very tidy looking plugin, I think. On the left side of the screen you have your preset selections, as well as all the components that you can load up into your signal chain. In the middle you have your rack where you can tweak all your components, and on the left side there is the signal flow screen for an easy overview of your chain. And of course on the top we also have the in and output level metering and adjustments, which can be important to fine-tune how the plugin reacts to your playing, and also a handy input gate and an output limiter. Now in terms of components, there is a lot of cool stuff to choose from. Many amplifiers, old and new, with some unique offerings. Multiple cabinet options including the brand new IR loader, delay and echo effects, distortion pedals, dynamic effects, EQs, filters, modifiers, modulation, pitch effects, reverb, special effects and tools. Now one thing that's really cool about the Guitar Rig platform in comparison to other platforms is that there are many sort of processors in Guitar Rig that aren't geared towards guitars per se. The SSL EQ and compressors and the studio compressors, for example, those are basically mixing tools, but in this plugin you can use them to process your guitars as well as process other instruments. But there are also many other cool effects that may not seem to be suitable for a guitar at first glance, but when you try them on guitar, they can give you some very interesting results. However, you can also use Guitar Rig to process other instruments like vocals, for example, bass guitar, of course, and all kinds of instruments that you can think of, basically. Anything that requires dynamic and EQ processing or reverb or modulation, anything you can think of. So that makes this a quite comprehensive package and very versatile, so a great studio tool. And now in Guitar Rig 7, we have the new ICM gear models. And some amps and pedals have been added that include this new tech. ICM stands for Intelligent Circuit Modeling. And this is what the website says about it. Experience a whole new level of depth and realism with our virtual guitar amps. Sci-fi by name, but incredibly realistic by nature. Our intelligent circuit modeling process uses machine learning technology to reproduce the behavior of hardware devices from the ground up. Our RCM amp simulators don't just sound like the real deal, they feel like it. So that's Guitar Rig 7 in a nutshell when it comes to the features, okay? Now, I'm not going to be able to show you all the amplifiers and all the effects because there's so much included in this package. So what I want to do is create 3 presets, so 3 tones basically, and then show you guys how I made those presets and explore the gear that I used. And I'm primarily going to be using the new models. Now, you already heard the first tone that I created in the intro demo, and that was with my ESP LTD NW44 into the super fast 100 amplifier. That's one of the new amps with the ICM tech with the Matched Cabinet Pro. I like the Matched Cabinet Pro a lot because it's just super easy to use. You just choose your cabinet and then choose the A or B voicing option and then blend in the room if you want. At the start of the chain, I have the noise gate on, and in the middle section, I've automated in the phaser 90 effect in a few sections. And to finalize the chain, I'm using the old solid EQ, which I really like. It's based on an SSL EQ, and I'm basically using that to cut out some low end and also cut out some mids, or dip out some mids, I should say. Subtle but effective, but that's a great tool to have in your tone creation arsenal. Now let's try out another tone and something a bit different and a bit more filthy using my Ibanez M80M 8-string through the old Van 51 amp model. And I'm going to use 2 different distortion blocks, both the new ICM blocks. I'm going to use the chainsaw for that nice and filthy Swedish death metal chainsaw, the Boss HM2 tone, and then also the new Skreamer Deluxe ICM boost pedal for a more modern boosted tone. And I will be alternating between the 2 pedals with automation. Okay, let's check it out. Oh yeah, that was awesome. So Guitar Rig 7 has no issues whatsoever with bringing the filth. So the first and final section used the new chainsaw distortion pedal, which again is based on the Boss HM2, and it's obviously great for that filthy Swedish death metal tone. And then after that, I punch out the chainsaw pedal and punch in the new Skreamer Deluxe pedal, which is based on a tube screamer, just for a more modern boosted sound and to bring more definition and punch to that low-tuned 8-string guitar. Again, starting off the chain with a noise gate through the lead channel of the Van 51 amp with the matching cabinet. The solid EQ is loaded after that as well to cut some low end. And I'm also using the solid dynamics to compress the sound when the low end palm mutes are too boomy. So that evens out the dynamics a little bit. Sounds great. Now one more tone and something completely different once again, and more mellow and beautiful and sweet. Using the new Reverb Delight ICM amp model and my Gibson Les Paul Standard 60s on the neck pickup, which is a Seymour Duncan 59. Check it out. Very nice indeed. So I started off the chain with the fast comp to even out the dynamics into the Reverb Delight amp, which is based on a Fender amp, I believe, with some spring reverb dialed in for some nice ambience, with the matching cabinet. Again with the solid EQ to cut the lows, and this time with the VC2A compressor to even out the dynamics even more and to give it that polished studio sound. And for the right guitar, I'm enabling the rotary effect in the middle section, which sounds really awesome. So those were the 3 tones. I thought that they sounded really good, to be honest. Nothing wrong with those tones at all. So what are my thoughts on Guitar Rig 7? Honestly, it's a lot of fun, and there are so many gear pieces to choose from and so many unique tools. So you can really get creative with this platform and get some great tones, and even tones that you can't get anywhere else. The new amps are great. They didn't add a whole lot of new amplifiers. Some of the older amplifiers that are in here are a little bit dated, so maybe they can add more ICM amps in the future, preferably more high gain amplifiers because that fits my personal preference. Or they could also go back and sort of remodel some of the older amplifiers into the new ICM tech. But yeah, I really like Guitar Rig 7. I also created some presets for the factory version of Guitar Rig 7, by the way, so when you're going to explore this plugin, you will come across some tones that I created. But again, it's a great platform, and not only for guitar, but you can also use this for your vocals, for your keys, and like I said, any other instrument, because it's a great mixing tool in general, and it's not just geared towards guitar players. So yeah, it's a quite powerful tool indeed. This video was sponsored, by the way, but as always, all thoughts and opinions are 100% my own. That's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like and subscribe buttons down below, as that really helps the channel out. I'd usually appreciate that. And you can also follow Sonic Drive Studio on Facebook and Instagram. Thank you guys so much, and I hope to see you soon. Cheers!